All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Maths Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. Okay. So today we'll be talking about rules for expanding brackets. All right. So I'll talk about two general rules and how to expand bracket. Quickly, I also want to advise, try and review the previous videos I've done. Where we talked about things like the sign rules, the signs, multiplication of signs, division of signs. We talked about different concepts of some symbols, the concept of constant and variables, because we're going to use some of them here. All right. So we're going to talk about two rules. All right. So we're going to talk about how do we expand when we have a bracket. All right. And a value. Okay. How do you expand those kind of brackets? Or when you have two brackets. All right. So when you have two brackets. All right. So we'll talk about these two in this video. All right. So the first one, let's start with when you have a bracket and values. So when you have brackets and values and you are asked to expand it. All right. Remember I said that these videos are just a quick refresher before we go down to what we have for. So before you start talking about the advanced algebra, I just want to be sure that we are all on the same page on the basic algebra, all right? So if we have a bracket and a value, so let's assume we have A multiplied by B plus C, or it could be A multiplied by B minus C, or it doesn't really matter how it is. Or you can even say, we can be, let's say, A minus B multiplied by C. It does not matter how it's being written, provided that you have a bracket and a particular constant multiplying it. So the rule is very simple. The rule is that you have to multiply the outside elements, okay, or the constant or the value with all the elements in the bracket. So this case, it will be A multiplied by B and also A multiplied by C. So it's going to be A multiplied by B plus A multiplied by C. So basically, the rule is that the element outside, okay, will multiply all the elements inside. And all the rules of the signs we talked about in the previous video will apply. So the rules, like I said, so you have the elements outside will multiply all the elements in the bracket. Okay. Number two, then you add them together, add all the products together. And number three, what do? You then simplify. Okay. So these are how, or the three rules when solving expanding the bracket for this. Is that okay? So the element outside will multiply all the elements in the bracket, and then you add all the products. So now the same thing, the element outside is A multiplied by what? B. Then it's going to become A multiplied by, in this case, minus C. Are you seeing it? Then here as well, the element outside is C. It's multiplying AB. So it's going to be A multiplied by C. Then it's going to become C multiplied by what? Minus B. The second step is that if you add all of them together, then the third step, you simplify. So this is going to become AB plus AC. This is AB plus minus AC. This is going to become AC plus minus CB, all right? So in the last video, I talked about the signs and the concept of multiplying or dividing signs. And I also explained in the last video that when plus multiplied by minus is going to give you minus. So it's going to become AB minus what? AC. And that'll be the answer for this. And plus times minus will give you minus. It's going to become AC minus CB. So, and that is it. So that is how you multiply when you have a bracket and a value. So let's just pick a quick example so that we'll, before I go to the next concept. So we have 5, 3x plus 2, okay? This is similar to the A to bracket B plus C. So what you do is going to become 5 multiplied by 3x. 5 multiplied by what? 2. And I said you add them together. So 5 times 3 will give us 15x. 5 times 2 will give us 10. It's going to become 15x plus what? 10. All right. Now let's pick another example just to throw one more in the mix there. So we have 4x minus 3 minus 3. Okay. 4x minus 3 minus 3. All right. So in this case, now what you are multiplying here, can you see? This is 4x and this is minus 3. Now, there are two ways of doing this, but I'll just do the simple one. Because this is just a bracket, so that means a constant here, because there's no, remember, it's multiplication. All right, so between the value and the bracket is multiplication. But if you have a look at this one, we have no multiplication sign, but there's actually something here which we call 1. Can you see? So when there is nothing there, it's assumed that the constant value there is 1. So it's going to be 1 times 4x will give you 4x. 1 times minus 3 will give you minus 3, and you bring out this. And that'll give you 4x minus what? 6. Okay? Now, this is not the same thing as if the question was 4x minus 3 multiplied by minus 3. Are you seeing it? Now, if the constant value outside is minus, then we'll not apply the same thing because now it's multiplied. It's different from this. So minus 3 times 4x and minus 3 times minus 3. Can you see? Then we now add them together. Then we give you minus 12x plus minus times minus is what? Plus. It'll give you 9. And that will give you minus 12x plus 9. And that will be the answer for that. All right. Good. So in the beginning, I talked about that we have two concepts, a bracket and a value, and we've done that. Now, when you have two brackets with elements in both brackets, how do you do it? So now the next concept is when you have two brackets, all right? We have two brackets that we want to solve. Okay? Two brackets we want to solve. So in the case of something like A plus B multiplied by C plus D, regardless of the sign, all right? Regardless of the sign. So we have 3 rules for this as well. So the first rule is that you have to then multiply everything in the first bracket by everything in the second. So that means basically you use each element in the first bracket to multiply all the elements in the second. So that means you must use each element. Okay, so each element A, B, so use A to multiply everything in the second bracket, or you use B to multiply everything in the second bracket. So you use each element in the first bracket to multiply all elements in the second bracket. You use each element in the first bracket, so to multiply, so let's go. It's going to be A multiplied by, so this element is going to become, let me change the color for that. So we have the first element is A multiplied by C. Okay. Then we also have A multiplied by what? D. Okay, then you repeat the same thing, B multiplied by C, and you also have B multiplied by what? D. Okay, then when you've done that, you then add all the products what? Together. Okay, the second step is that you then have to what? Add all the products together and collect like terms if necessary. And collect like terms if needed. All right. So that means then number 3, you then what? Simplify if applicable. Is that right? So that is for how you do it. So that means applicable. So what you do, you open the brackets now. So we're going to have A times C will give us AC plus A times D will give us AD plus, we add the plus sign to all of them, plus BC plus BD. Okay, and that's how you expand the bracket. Well, you have two things. So you use the elements in the first bracket to multiply all the elements in the second, or you use all, after you've done that, you use the first element to multiply, then use the second element to multiply. Then what you now do is that you now add all of them together, and also you simplify if applicable. So let's pick an example. Let's say we have x plus 3 multiplied by x plus what? 4. So the first rule, we use each element to multiply. So it's going to become x times x. Then x times 4. The next one is going to become 3 times x. So become 3 times x. Then become 3 times 4. Okay, then, like I said, after that, you then add all the elements, products together. So we have to add all these products what? Together. So x times x will give us x squared plus 4x plus 3x plus 12. Then remember, it's also said collect like terms if needed. So in this case, we have to, because 4x and 3x are like terms. To give us x squared plus 7x plus what? 12. And that's the answer for that. Okay. Let me just pick one more. Let me just say one that has a negative sign. All right. So that to make it balanced. So remember, I told you that all the rules for positive and negative signs, multiplication and division applies here. So let's say we have another example. Let me pick this one. We have x minus 4 multiplied by 2x plus 3. The same principle. The first element multiply this one. So it's going to have x multiplied by 2x. Then the first element also multiply all the elements in the second bracket. So it's going to give you x multiplied by 3. Then, so let's take all this down. All right. Let me do it again. So let me just drag all this. Yep, bring it a bit down so I can have space. Good. Then the next one, we have this multiplied by this. So you can see in the second case, we're having minus 4 multiplied by 2x. This minus 4 multiplied by what? 2x, not 4. The next thing, we also have minus 4 multiplied by what? 3. Then like I told you, you add all of them together. So x times 2x will give us 2x squared. X times 3 will give us 3x. plus minus 4 times x will give us minus 8x, and plus minus 4 times 3 will give us minus 12. Okay, so that is that. The next thing, you collect like terms. But before you do that, remember I talked about in BODMAS or BIDMAS, you open the brackets first. So we have to open those brackets. So plus times minus will give us minus. So plus times minus will give us minus 8x. Plus times minus will give us minus 12. Then the next thing we do, we collect like terms. So it's going to become 2x squared. 3x minus 8x will give us minus 5x. And minus what? 12. And that will be the answer for that. All right. So we've talked about each and every one of this. And you can see basically for two brackets, what you're expected to do, you use the elements in the first bracket to multiply all the elements in the second bracket, collect like terms, add the products, and simplify. But if it's for brackets with one value outside, so you just have to use the values to open all the elements in the bracket and you add it. All right. And that is that for that on how to expand or expanding brackets. The next video I'm going to talk about is how do you factorize algebraic fractions. All right. So like I said, if you have any question, please feel free to send me an email, or you can try as much as possible to review other exercises in your textbook and let me know. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll talk about how to factorize algebraic fraction. All right, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.